going on, guys? It's been a while since I made a video. Missed you guys. This is one tutorial that I've been meaning to get to for a little while, but I've just been kind of busy with packing my stuff and moving out of my old place and into this place. I'm pretty happy with it. So what I've been working on for the past 2 months or so is diagonal planes, and I guess I kind of figure it's the next logical step where we've covered the original 6 stall points. If we add some more stall points, more specifically adding 4 new stall points to the area that we've been playing in, we have our original stall points, the 2 to the sides, 1 at the front, 1 at the back, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom. We're going to add to that 4 new stall points. If you look at this face of the cube, each of these stall points is the dead center of each face of the cube. Oops. The ones that we're going to add at the edges of these at the edges of the faces. If this is the edge of a cube, we have this edge here. So where those 4 lines intersect, we're going to create a stall point, and it's going to be at these edges, and it's aligned in our wall plane. The way we create diagonal planes from these stall points is by combining one of them with one of our original stall points. For example, taking this new stall point and combining it with our front stall point will create a diagonal plane. And if we were to continue that, combining this front stall point with this edge stall point, we create a diagonal plane between here. And the mirror image is this way. So play with that with just your hands for a little bit and really get a feel for where those stall points are going to be and how they connect with this front stall point, because that will form the basis of these these diagonal planes, is moving between the front stall point and these new 4 stall points. What we're going to end up with is some planes that look sort of like this. If we are starting off at the bottom here and we transition from this bottom stall point to the front, it inevitably creates a diagonal plane. It takes a little bit of motor skill building to transition between these stall points because they're new. So feel them out a little bit, see how they work, just transitioning between the 2 stall points like this. And you're really trying to aim and visualize those new stall points and make your poi hit right into it. Okay? So practice that a little bit with both hands and we'll continue. Now, once you practice that with each hand, we're going to try it with both hands. Now, I find a good way to start with this is with sort of a mirror image of each side. And the way that we're going to initiate this is by swinging up and starting at that front stall point, just like that. You can also pendulum it up, but in one way or another, you're going to initiate from a double front stall. And what we're going to do is come out to the sides, like that. We're going to add these diagonals, and it's going to look like this. Up, diagonal, out. Up, diagonal, out. Feel that out a little bit, give it a try, and then continue. Now that we've covered that, we're going to include the bottom ones, the bottom diagonals, and we're going to start out same way with the last one, diagonal out, and then we're going to go diagonal down. Try it a few times before we continue the whole sequence. Really think about where your poi are going and where your hands are going. make sure you end up at these diagonals. And then we're going to just bring it to the downstall point, like this. Now starting at the bottom, we're going to do the sequence in reverse. Play with this sequence for a little bit until you're comfortable adding in those diagonals, and then we'll continue more. We're going to change up the timing of our hands a little bit now, and we're going to take it from a mirror image, and we're going to kind of go from side to side with it. Now what this is going to look like is we're going to start at the front, and we're going to break like that. Start at the front, break out, and back. Then, in this one, my right hand's on the top and left on the bottom, we're going to switch it up and go right hand down, left up, and then back. It's going to look like this. If we link these two together, we're going to end up with a hand path that looks like this. And we're tracing out an X in front of us. So we're going to start out the same way, and we're going to link them together. So practice that for a little bit. There's different techniques for doing it. Myself personally, I kind of switch. I switch my poi from being on bottom to on top, depending on which stall point I'm going for. Like with my right hand, I tend to go underhand, like this, to reach that stall point. And for the bottom one, I go on top. So it switches. Sort of like, it goes kind of like a weaving motion right here at the front point. Goes down, under, and up. But that's just me. You can do it entirely overhand or entirely underhand. It's up to you and your preference, whichever feels better for you. Okay, so now let's keep in mind that these planes aren't just in front of us, and they continue the whole way around us. Explore all of that. Okay? So, when we get a feel for how that all works, we're going to change up the timing some more and play with the different ways of moving around in these diagonal planes. My personal favorite is, a lot of people call it quarter time. Honestly, once you're in atomic planes, timing and direction kind of goes out the window. It doesn't really apply, because timing and direction is how the poi relate to each other in a single plane. And if you've broken the plane, they can't really relate to each other being in different planes. You can try to assign some sort of timing and direction theory to it, but at this time I haven't really heard a way of explaining it that makes any sense. What makes sense to me is that they no longer relate to each other because they're the same plane. So we can't assign a timing to it per se. So onto it. The way we're going to start this one is in the same manner that we did it like that, but we're going to do it in a different timing other than a mirror imaged same time, or what people might call it same time, because the poi are moving identically to each other, just mirror imaged. So we can start this by kind of coming from a buzzsaw, like a reverse buzzsaw, and by stalling out in the front point. Or we can start it from like a buzzsaw plane pendulum. Either or, whichever is more comfortable for you. I tend to like to start it from a buzzsaw. But we're going to break out, like the first poi to hit that stall point will break out to its side. It's going to be my right poi. Comes out, right? And then immediately after, my left poi will stall out and go out to its diagonal stall point. So we go stall out. And then we'll reach this sort of movement. It feels a lot like a pendulum, but it just really extends up to those stall points. So practice that for a bit. Practice coming at it from a buzzsaw. Practice coming at it from pendulums, double pendulums. So play with that, and we'll continue.